Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Higurashi. We're up to episode 3 apparently. Of Kai. This should be pure chaos.
I hope so. What happened last time? We had zombie tag, we had a bunch of chilling out.
Yeah, and then they also met up while everyone was in the punishment outfits on the road.
Very silly. And Irie
inexplicably dropped from the sky.
Can I tell you that when I think of Irie, that's the scene.
Yeah, I can understand
he spins through the air because it is the most iconic fucking thing.
I honestly want to say I've seen that as like a GIF years before ever even knowing what
it's very much
franchise was.
It's very much his vibe to just like perform a feat of incredible acrobatic skill while wearing his full-on like clinic outfit and just launch you to the next thing. It's great. Also, I want to say, because I was puzzled at the end of the last episode, why are we thinking Type Moon? It's because of Chie.
Yeah, it's because of Chie. But the other thing that was really fun, now I cut that from the short episode. And the reason I cut it from the short episode is because we also asked it in the second last episode of the first season of the anime. I am silly. But it's been so long we'd both forgotten. I'm
sorry. I always remember, like, I even made a reference last episode to, like, Chie's gonna pull out her T-squares, but I literally was like, Type Moon, though? What does that have to do with this show? Question will never be answered.
It never will.
When it is. So, you know. I mean, there's Rika. She's waving at us. What could it mean, Felix? If I told you that her waving at the camera was one of the most significant details of this show, would you believe me?
Probably, but I also wouldn't take it terribly seriously.
Okay, well, you better, because it is.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, it's the 11th. It could be a bad day.
It's like that Boomer comic where it's got 1984.
Oh no. It's the evil stab.
Oh, I still love in a the sound effects.
It's kind of refreshing, honestly.
Well, it's also nice that they've kind of had the chance to like plot this out intentionally rather than just excising stuff.
Yeah.
Like they had the choice to go from the zombie tag arc to this rather than being like, oh, we should remove all of this context.
Because there is no, like, context. We're just adding context. That's what this entire arc is. Just, like, adding more stuff that they had to remove previously. It's great.
The 4 Nagashi evil?
Maybe we should change the translation. This is terrible. Terrible stuff.
I mean, this is what happens. There's only third-party subs for this show.
It's true.
This is...
Yeah?
Bizarrely on the nose. Like,
it is incredibly on the nose. It doesn't seem natural at all.
Yeah.
Although I will say I like that shot where Rika's hair was all like light blue and the yellow was kind of contrasting against it. Shout out to artistic direction.
It's really interesting how, like, at least musically the way they frame that, because in the VN I seem to remember they use, you know, the like sad, oh, this isn't this a miserable thing.
It's much more ethereal.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's very weird. That's right. Like maybe we can bring him on as a star hitter. Maybe
I
we
love
can make
the
him
idea
famous.
as well that there's like multiple journalists at this tiny town school ball game.
They're here to report. They're looking for a story. Okay.
I like how different the tone of this is as well. When like this isn't the Keiichi going insane arc, and we're not stuck in his head rampaging about it for so long.
It's a lot like lower energy, I guess, which is very different.
He's not even speaking. He's just making chewing sounds.
Look, he's miming Kamida's attempts to chomp on sweet, unfouled desserts.
Oh, poor Rika.
She's just so depressed about stuff.
What does she possibly have to be depressed about?
Who knows? She's a lovely young girl with nothing but a full, long life ahead of her. It's kind of like that wine she was drinking earlier.
Wow. Are you suggesting that Rika is going to become a vampire this episode?
I hope so. And she can only drink demon blood, and that's her bit.
Wow.
What she
Finally, the lore of Hinamizawa explained.
Wine drinking, demon blood having
vampire,
1,000-year-old lolly done.
Oh my goodness!
It's the worst character.
The debut, finally.
Well, technically, you can see her in Sumi Horoboshi in a couple frames, but apart from that,
well, and the end credits of the first 2 episodes.
I wasn't going to mention those, but yeah, that is a weird decision to just show her in those little puppet scenes.
There it was! That was the punch-in! After all this time!
We've missed you.
I have never died before in my life.
That is not an experience that I have had. Real chaps. Oh, there she is! Oh! There she is! You're supposed to be the one that solves mysteries.
Oh, I'm not solving a mystery here, Ben. I'm guessing at the whims of Dean.
The whims of Dean!
These are all like
of Shaft.
fantasy clans.
It's true.
In the ancient anime lands.
Dude, that's the thing. If you go to those anime shows, they just like get up for war. They're like ready to kill each other.
Exactly.
That's exactly how it works. It's why nobody fucks with Studio Trigger. They got nothing but guns. Big guns the size of like continents. So
in a contest between all of the big anime studios, whose name gives them the most deadly weapon?
Ufotable, if you think that it says like UFO table.
Oh, that's
a table
true.
of UFOs. Like, who knows what UFOs can do?
Well, but unidentified flying objects could also just be, paper planes that haven't been scanned.
Ufotable has an army of incredibly well-rendered paper planes.
But they haven't been identified.
That's their thing.
There's no labels.
Yes, there's no labels on them. You just know that they look gorgeous. All of them are like covered in glitter. You can't identify them. So how'd you enjoy that?
I was fun. I enjoyed how much we got through there without it actually feeling terribly rushed. Like that was a lot for one episode.
It was paced pretty well, actually. I enjoyed just like going through it. My least favorite.
Wow, it's a tourism ad for Hinamizawa all along.
Yeah, we go to the Sonozaki family's deluxe torture suite. Isn't that fun? Man, that sounds like fun. It's the sort of thing I should steal for some
literally
blood.
A bleeding service.
Nice.
Let's continue.
Burn up.
Pre-established harmony.
I'm sure that nothing would possibly break that.
That's true. Nothing ever would.
Harmony is something that exists forever and will never change. Especially if you don't do anything to preserve it. That definitely won't have any consequences.
That's right.
Da, da, da.
Although it is interesting, like, there are so many different experiments that one can do with like tempo and the way things sync up and harmonize in terms of like, if you put a bunch of swinging metronomes on a moving plank, they'll inevitably synchronize, even if they're on different but similar settings, just because the tilting of the platform will override the kind of weight calibration of the metronome, or like how, if you set like any number of metronomes to different speeds, after a long enough time, they'll probably all hit at exactly the same moment. At least once. And there's like
it's a 1 in 1,000 chance, one might say.
It depends on how many you have, obviously, but like there's some fun like art installation pieces that have like done that sort of thing and just left a bunch of metronomes running, all set to different times.
Yeah, totally.
And you're just there listening to the like cacophony until eventually like groups of them start to get in sync.
It's the harmony of chaos, one might call it.
Exactly.
It's very cool. You can't just shove cotton candy in a man's mouth and expect him to not die.
Why not? Dude, the strength it just took him to do that.
I know, right? I know, right? Oh, there's Shion.
Dear anime.
Off. Please stop introducing characters by their breasts. Just like, the Tesla's changed. Oh, I'm having a spiritual moment.
Yes, that feeling of way too hot food sliding down your throat as you slowly groan in regret.
What? Oh, I see. I thought you were being disingenuous or sarcastic, but
no,
I think you
wasn't.
You were genuinely empathizing. She has such a small mouth. You were genuinely empathizing with Keiichi there, which I am very happy with.
I don't know.
What have you eaten as part of a club activity that I was not invited to?
I've never been a part of a club.
That's untrue.
I've only run them.
That's still being part of.
Not if you're a ruthless dictator.
No. I mean, that's also Mion, so I do enjoy getting to see Rika go like fully unhinged in this arc. It's not really something you get to see in the other ones. Like in the proper arcs, the real arcs that actually happened. Whereas this fake arc.
I really like the way they kind of tossed that scene in there.
Yeah.
That was like
very effective.
Because we'd heard mention in arc 7 of like all the times that Rika had kind of gone and
tried to stop them, right?
Yeah.
And like tried other stuff.
Never actually seen the action, I guess.
Well, that's like to me certainly when I like had recently like experienced the story, one of my favorite things was just thinking about all the times that we like didn't see, over the 8 arcs, all the different permutations and all the incredible possible things that Rika could have done.
It's interesting how, because I mean, we've mentioned plenty of times on the show how like Uishi sets the tone for
our protagonist.
Yeah, but like we're kind of more disconnected from Rika's perspective in this arc than we have been in previous ones. For
sure.
So like we see a more neutral Uishi, but I feel like the tone for this arc is still bad because of how Rika is implied to be perceiving him.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, it's literally happening now. I was just shy of cutting in on this, but like Rika already knows everything.
Yeah.
Like, Oishi's like, let me use the information that I have to like coax you into talking with me. Rika's like, nah, bish, I already know all that. Like, I don't need you to tell me things.
Oh my goodness, his car is moving. Animation.
Animation. We have it sometimes. That's Dean's motto. We have animation sometimes.
I actually really like the angle of this arc.
How so?
The way that it's portraying Rika, almost as like the villain, the arc's villain in a way.
Her mental state.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't talk to anyone. I just gotta, not do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, this is in the anime's context supposed to be just portraying how she feels in every arc, right?
Yeah.
Like,
now instead of being like creeped out, we're seeing the like consequences of her mistrust, right?
One of their Mokunogi Gardener types.
I'm really looking forward to the scene that we described back in Arc 6. Do you remember it?
Which scene?
Of the Okunogi Gardener is just a dude on a lawnmower just going across, staring in the window, just slowly getting closer and closer.
If that happens, I'm there. I'm done.
That's what I want from this anime. I just want that one scene. Long minute shot.
I hope it's actually Okunogi. Like, that's all I want.
Yeah, right.
Okunogi on the lawnmower, just staring.
They do a much better job of like setting the scale of the town here.
Yeah, for sure. Did you watch him like fucking slide? That dude, JPEG just
straight up just moonwalked out of that shot.
That was one frame of animation just sliding across the screen.
Like, you think after this many repetitions, Rika would probably be used to just being like, oh yeah, that's the gardeners. They come around all the time.
I mean, maybe she is internally, but she definitely doesn't want to like...
Just kind of over it, I guess.
Explain it or whatever, yeah. We're setting up the idea that she it's not that she's like doing nothing to progress her future. She's like actively trying to ignore her impending death.
Yeah.
And that's,
it's kind of it's a fun framing device for what will happen next arc. Then,
for sure.
Because suddenly we understand Rika's like, oh, this has gone wrong before. I need to capitalize on it.
Absolutely.
What a weird light design.
It's great.
I'm actually quite confused as to what the layout of that is.
It's just 2 rings of light.
That's but there's like 3 nodes in the middle that I would have thought would be light bulbs, but then what's the outside for?
I thought the outside was the lights, but who knows? Let us know in the comments if you're a light bulb manufacturer.
If you
create light, if you are God and said, let there be light, comment. Let us know.
If you were there on the 7th day.
Yep. Isn't the 7th day when God rested?
I don't fucking know. We've been over this.
The first day is let there be light. God damn, read your Bible. Like, I mean, when we read the VN and Rika has this whole thing of like, is it Iri or Takano? Which one could it be? I'm not even sure that's in the anime. I'm pretty sure that that's just cut in lieu of having this scene. Well, I wish we'd had more of him on his own. Oh, no.
I'm sorry. Did you just see Kuma-chan fucking drifting right then?
Yeah, dude.
Did you
ready to rock and roll.
Drifting?
And he's about to get shot.
What the fuck is going on?
Kuma-chan, no.
This is ridiculous.
Oh, no. That's so strange. That did not feel like 20 minutes to me, however long it is.
It was definitely like a lot more abruptly paced than the previous episode.
Sure.
But
that escalated so quickly at the end there.
I do like just how different in approach.
Yep.
Like, did Ryukishi like write this arc, or he just asked them to like put these?
I don't know if he wrote it. I know that he like asked the studio. That's like how it came about. But I don't know if he wrote it or if he just kind of trusted them to handle it.
It feels so different, but in a way that I actually really like.
I don't know for sure. I would hazard a guess that he didn't write it directly. He was probably on other projects at the time.
Yeah.
But you can definitely feel that they like that the writers care about this arc, It's like it's a real thing that matters, which is great. But you're right, like it feels a little bit different to the others. And the Kai anime in general feels different to the first season. So
because like I think especially when we look, because like arc 6 is probably the main one in the story I can think of where we explicitly jump between 2 primary perspectives.
Yeah.
But what we have here is very much a it's almost like a more third person perspective we have here.
Yeah.
Following Satoko and Rika like over their shoulder rather than in their head.
No, for sure.
Like obviously
it's a more detached perspective, right?
Yeah, like obviously the anime does have to be third person just because that's how cameras work. But they still kind of did have a bit more of the internal dialogue and portrayal of things from people's perspectives in this is I don't know why they put this all in the preview. I
was gonna wait for you to stop talking, but yeah, what the fuck, Dean? You just spoiled the entire Hinamizawa disaster in those sequences.
I know.
You're like, here's Satoko recovering with the gas mask on, and here's the military going in. Like everything was in there. What the fuck, Dean?
It's pretty ridiculous.
Anyway, continue talking.
But like, you know, like the change in perspective here is very tangible is the point, even though like functionally from a filmmaking perspective, I think that it's delivered in a similar way. It still has a very different tone that I really like, and I think it's working well for where this fits into the overall narrative.
Well, what I kind of like is that we're moving, like we started off with Rika's perspective at the start of this arc and with a little bit of Satoko, but by this point it's almost entirely Satoko's perspective. Like I'm not sure how to explain it, but like the way that the show is shot and the scenes that we get kind of shifted from one perspective to the other, rather than being like a completely, you know, symmetrically shared sort of perspective scene.
Alrighty.
Which is cool. And so now we get to see Satoko's fun, happy times where nothing wrong happens.
Hooray!
She has a happy ending.
Alrighty. Well, I guess we'll see you next week.
Yeah, here with the anime. Next time. Have a good one.